What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Friday, March 31st. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 13 game slate tonight. So there's just a ton of killer picks on the slate. Let's start at the point guard position. I like Josh Giddey from the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the Indiana Pacers, who have the second worst defense overall, give up the third most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Josh Giddey has averaged 37.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He's projected at 38.1 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 45 fantasy points or more in this matchup, get you over 5 times value. He's 8,700 DraftKings salary, and he's 700 less on FanDuel. So I love that FanDuel price. $8K for Josh Giddey with 50 plus fantasy point upside on FanDuel. That makes me giddy. Okay, Josh Giddey. That was an awful joke. Josh Giddey has scored 37, 59, and 48 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 34, 34, and 35 minutes. I should have said it like, I'm getting Josh Giddey just thinking about it. That would have been better. Okay, so Josh Giddey, so he has scored 43 and 38 fantasy points in the last 2 games, but take a look at his last 5 games. He's got a 48, a 59, and a 64. So this guy's got monster upside. It's a fantastic matchup. Price tag is too low on both sites, but it's just a criminally low price on FanDuel. $8K on FanDuel for Josh Giddey. So I like Josh Giddey here versus the Indiana Pacers. Okay, so Josh Giddey also eligible at the shooting guard position, but let's take a look at this shooting guard position. I like Jordan Poole from the Golden State Warriors playing the San Antonio Spurs, who have the absolute worst defense overall, give up the second most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. Jordan Poole has averaged 32.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 34.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.5 times value. He's 6,200 DraftKings salary, but he is 1,200 more on FanDuel, so I love that DraftKings price. With a big slate, you really want to look at the price differences on both sites. You can identify the players who are underpriced on DraftKings or underpriced on FanDuel pretty easily here. So Jordan Poole has scored 35, 39, and 44 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 29, 30, and 32 minutes. And take a look at his last 5 games versus the Spurs. Scored 40, 52, 37, 39, and 52 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Spurs. So I like Jordan Poole, especially on DraftKings, here versus the San Antonio Spurs. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And then we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. So if you want to pay up just a little bit and play another Golden State Warriors player, well, I think he's got some pretty big upside here tonight. Take a look at Klay Thompson from the Golden State Warriors playing the San Antonio Spurs, who have the absolute worst defense overall, and they give up the 11th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Klay Thompson has averaged 34 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 26% usage rate. He's projected at 35.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 6,800 DraftKings salary, 200 more on FanDuel. So it looks like Klay Thompson is less expensive on FanDuel than Jordan Poole. So I would play Jordan Poole on DraftKings. Jordan Poole on DraftKings and Klay Thompson on FanDuel. So Klay Thompson has scored 29, 26, and 34 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 34, 34, and 36 minutes. So Klay Thompson, he's got 40 plus fantasy point upside. Now he has been underperforming his season average pretty much 3 out of his last 4 games. So his salary has come down here under 7K, but in a big slate, I think he's worth a shot here because we know he's got 40 plus fantasy point upside. He's playing a ton of minutes. And even if he scores his season average here tonight, it's going to be over 5 times value. So I like Klay Thompson here versus the San Antonio Spurs. Now, another player that I like, this is a stud pick, but I think his salary's pretty low here. Take a look at Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls playing the Charlotte Hornets, who have the 4th worst defense overall, give up the 12th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Zach LaVine has averaged 39.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 36 minutes per game with a 28% usage rate. So he's projected at 40.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 8,100 DraftKings salary, 100 less on FanDuel. I like that price on both sites. Vegas thinks there's going to be 224 points scored in this game. And Zach LaVine has scored 32, 32, and 41 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 35, 32, and 36 minutes. So he scored 24, 36, 29, 39, and 45 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Hornets. I think we could see 50 plus fantasy point upside from Zach LaVine here tonight. So I like Zach LaVine here versus the Charlotte Hornets.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Jalen Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the Indiana Pacers, who have the 2nd worst defense overall, give up the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Jalen Williams, he scored 47, 49, and 40 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 37, 33, and 37 minutes. He had a 30% usage rate last game, so I think he can score 35 fantasy points or more here, get you 5 times value or more. He's 7,500 DraftKings salary, 100 more on FanDuel. He did score 38 fantasy points in his last game versus the Pacers, so he's been on fire. So I like Jalen Williams here versus the Indiana Pacers. Okay, moving on to the center position. I know I've given you a lot of players around the 7K range, but don't worry, there's going to be plenty of value plays on this slate. I think the key to this slate is going to be picking those mid-range plays that are going to give you that 40, 50-point upside. So I like Rudy Gobert from the Minnesota Timberwolves playing the LA Lakers, who have the 5th worst defense overall, give up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing centers. Rudy Gobert has averaged 34.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. Now, he's projected at 33.2 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 37 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's $7,300 DraftKings salary, $400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 232.5 points scored in this game. Rudy Gobert has scored 30, 47, and 37 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 35, 35, and 34 minutes. Now, what stuck out to me for this pick is Rudy Gobert has scored 51, 58, 28, and 53 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Lakers. This man has put up 50-plus fantasy point performances 3 out of his last 4 games versus the Lakers. So I like Rudy Gobert here versus the LA Lakers.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.